band has that one album that no one likes to talk about. That album that is picked up, swept underneath the rug, and pretended like it never happened. And that one album that, well, for all intents and purposes, just isn't very good. Yes, today we're talking about Killswitch Engage's KSE 09, their 2009 and second self-titled album, and I just like to call it KSE 09 for short. So, basically, where do I start with this album? After the success of As Daylight Dies, they should come up with at least a formidable and promising successor to that, right? They should expand on the melodic and yet aggressive formula that they had pioneered basically since the end of Heartache. They should expand on that and evolve from that, shouldn't they? Yeah, no, not on this release at least. The drums are too loud in the mix. It's popish, it sounds contrived, it sounds forced, and just fake overall. So, a little bit of background information on the band at this point. They were going through a hard time with the singer, with the vocalist situation, much like they were back in 02 and 03, but to a lesser extent at this point, because Howard Jones' health was failing him a little bit, and it's kind of obvious on here that he is pushing himself because he is singing off-key, out of tune, off-pitch a little bit, and sometimes just too low, too baritone altogether. So I don't know whether or not his diabetes was affecting him. He did not know he had diabetes at this time, so he had his health go unchecked for a really long time. And, I mean, he sounds perfectly healthy on As Daylight Dies, which is really weird, because on here, it sounds like something weird is going on with the vocals. So I don't necessarily know whether or not something happened, but overall, it is what it is, I guess. But in general, it sounds like he needed a bunch of effects in order to keep his vocals on top in ship shape, because, you know, that's evident by the chorus in Never Again, because that the most effects I've ever seen Killswitch Engage use in that song, in the chorus, for Howard's vocals. And I don't think he needs it. He's a brilliant singer. He doesn't need all these, you know, crutches to help him keep him afloat. But obviously during this time period, he wasn't feeling his best. So overall, this is the final studio album with Howard Jones, as I said, and he takes a few breaks, actually, from Killswitch Engage, two of which, you know, two to be exact, one of which he didn't even return from, and Jesse Leach took his spot. So it's really weird, though, because even in the first break, Jesse Leach was taking his spot on tours and singing for the band. So at one point, even Howard Jones and Jesse Leach sang My Last Serenade together, which was actually really cool. That was a good thing to come out of this era of time, the KSE 09 era. But I digress. They never played any of these songs live apart from the tour supporting them, promoting the album. So, you know, you can tell that it was mainly As Daylight Dies, The End of Heartache, and Alive or Just Breathing. So nothing from the two KSE albums, the two self-titled albums, ever made it really live past their initial, you know, era, as I like to call it. So, you know, that's a good thing, but a bad thing. I would personally love to see them play Soilburn live. That'd be fucking sweet, because that song is just kick-ass, I think. But, overall, this album right here, you know, a few songs. There's a few good songs on it, but overall, unless you're a really hardcore Killswitch Engage fan, I would steer clear of this one, because it will make you think negatively of the band, and I personally don't blame the band for it, because I know that they were going through a very hard time during the recording of this album. So I don't know whether or not it got better, like right afterwards, to the point where he can sing with Jesse Leach on the whole My Last Serenade thing, but he's definitely, hopefully, getting a little bit better now. He was in a coma for 3 days, about a year ago or so. It was 2012. He said he was in a coma for 3 days right after leaving KSE for the final time. And it's just like, it makes you feel for the guy. It's just like, what? Really? He was doing that bad? He was doing that horribly? So I don't know whether or not he was doing bad here, but it certainly sounds like it. And the drums, as I said, the drum patterns don't make any sense, and they don't fit the structure of most of the songs. So I said they were up front before. They are way too far up front in the mix, sometimes overshadowing the guitars. And the sound that they use for the drums, the tone or the pitch, is very hollow. So I found that to be a little odd. Some of the lyrics also are a point of criticism for me, because usually Killswitch Engage are one of my favorite bands lyric-wise, because they use these really big and descriptive words and usually just fit perfectly within the structures of the songs and just sound seamless, usually. So here we have "You Are No God to Me," "This Is a Reckoning," "Scream," bunch of breakdowns. It's just not like, it's like they weren't even trying, personally, with the lyrics, on the lyrics department. I mean, "Never Again" and "Starting Over" about frickin' relationships. I mean, a Killswitch Engage song about relationships. Come on, really? Come, you're fucking me. You're fucking with me. No, it's on here, KSE 09, and they're not really even that good for the lyrics. So, and in "Never Again," the beginning, the drums just don't fit at all. So, you know, a few good songs, few really good songs. The Forgotten is pretty good, but, you know, it still has that hollow drum tone, and some of the effects in there are really weird. But, you know, overall, it's got a pretty decent structure, albeit a little bit repetitive, but I do enjoy listening to the song every now and then. "Reckoning" has a pretty decent guitar intro with, you know, some drums on it. The screams are a little bit off-key, off-tuned. You know, it sounds like he's really struggling, Howard, to scream in this album, especially on this song. But, you know, his singing in the latter half of the song is just perfect, spot on, no effects used or anything like that, so it sounds very good. So, the next one is "The Return," and this one is a contrived, popish mess, much like some of the other songs on the album. One of my least favorites, and it's very slow, and everything is just really off with this song. The drums, the guitar tone, the singing, pretty much everything, I guess. The next one is "A Light in a Darkened World." This is probably one of my another one of my favorite songs, because Howard, you know, while he does sing off key some of the time, other than that, you know, the song sounds perfect, pretty much. The lyrics are pretty good, and overall the guitar tone actually fits the song a little bit. They use this weird twin guitar tone. It's almost like they're trying to do what they did on the title track, "Daylight Dies," with the guitar, you know, the twin guitar tone, but more so. So I guess I can kind of see what they were doing, but it really didn't pan out very well. "Take Me Away." This one has a brilliant, and I mean sick, guitar intro. I love this guitar intro. I mean, it's like, it's fast, it's really aggressive, and the drums are just perfect in the mix there. I mean, they're not overshadowing the guitars. If they would have played off like this for the rest of the album, it would have been perfect. So then, you know, you're almost thinking it would be on, like, it could be on the last album, on "Alive or Just Breathing," or "As Daylight Dies," the last album, like I said, but one of the more aggressive Killswitch works. But then it reminds you it's on KSE 09, and it goes very slow. It's a very bluesy kind of song, and Howard is very baritone in this. He's very low, he sings almost too low in this song, and then it sounds like he's struggling even more so when he's trying to sing low. So, "Take Me Away," it's good for the intro. I fucking love that intro. Why didn't they tack that intro on, say, like, "Reckoning" or "Return" or "The Forgotten," or, you know, "A Light in a Darkened World"? Although that probably wouldn't fit "A Light in a Darkened World," but I digress. So, "I Would Do Anything." This one is a cheesy, cliche, just pop song, basically. It could have been written by a teen pop band, a teenage pop band. It's just, like, "I would do anything for love, I would do anything for you," basically. You know, you've heard those songs before. This is just another carbon copy. So, it's very cliche, very contrived, very kind of a mess. So, it's not really, needless to say, it's not really one of my favorite songs. So, the structure overall is all right of the songs, the guitar tone and everything. It doesn't feel as what's the word I'm looking for? Disjointed. It doesn't feel as disjointed as some other songs on here, such as "The Return," "Take Me Away," "Never Again," "Starting Over," those ones and the like. But it does have its problems, as, you know, it is very, very contrived. So, and manufactured sounding. The next one is "Save Me." This was a single next to "Starting Over" and one other one. I forget which one it was. It might have been "Lost," but "Save Me" and "Lost," these two are all right, but they sound very disjointed, especially compared to, say, "A Light and Darkened World," "Reckoning," and The Forgotten. These are my three favorite songs. Probably the only songs that I'll probably listen to after this point, but then again, the structures, as I said, sound very disjointed. Howard Jones, like, he tries to scream in Save Me, but it just doesn't work. I mean, this, I don't know. I don't know what it is. If it's the production or the drums or whatnot, it just doesn't work when he tries to scream. It doesn't really flow very well, I guess. This is Goodbye. Pitiful way to end your album. This is goodbye, my friend. No, I'm just kidding. But it's basically like saying, oh, well, goodbye, thanks for listening to our album. And, you know, I can deal with it because Bullet for My Valentine on the Poison has a song called The End, but it's actually a decent song. It's actually a decent closer. This one, on the other hand, aside from, you know, the name apart, it's just, again, the pop, contrived, disjointed, you know, not even single worthy. It's not aggressive, it's not slow, it's just kind of mid-tempo, and the singing is just very, very off-key and off-balance, you know? But overall, it's not a very good closer. It's not a very decent song, mind you. So, you know, overall, this album, like I said, is a cliche, pop, and contrived mess. I personally don't like it. I like 3 songs off this album, and, I got the standard edition, that's why I didn't review the bonus track. I haven't heard In a Dead World before, but I have heard My Obsession, and I will say it's kind of the same thing with the drums really up front in the mix. I mean, the guitars are pretty good in that song. Howard Jones is definitely trying to recuperate from whatever he was going through on this album, because they contributed My Obsession to the God of War 3 soundtrack, Blood and Metal, which also has a song from the band I'm going to be reviewing next month, Trivium. So I will probably touch on that a little bit later. My Obsession, however, is a very good song. However, the drums just really get annoying. This isn't a slam to Justin Foley, because he has definitely proved his worth on the previous albums, as well as Disarm the Descent, which will come a little bit later, from 2009. But KSE 09, as it stands right now, only if you're a true fan. Only if you're like this hardcore Killswitch Engage fan, such as myself, you should get this album. Recommended songs, probably The Forgotten, Reckoning, and A Light in a Darkened World, with A Light in a Darkened World being the best. So that's my album review on KSE 09. Thank you very much for watching. I'm probably going to give this album overall probably like a 5.5 out of 10, because I was going to give it a 5, but then I thought about it, and you know what, A Light in a Darkened World, the intro to Take Me Away is just awesome. And The Forgotten and Reckoning, of course, have their moments. But, you know, that's a few songs right there that I actually really like. So 5.5. I'll up it to 5.5. Not so much in the 6 range, because that's more tailored towards, you know, average to decent. This is kind of crap. So, with a few good songs thrown in there. So, 5.5 out of 10. Thank you very much for watching. This is Midnight Strike 3625. Keep calm and rock on.